Okay, so we press the hold and shift key and drag the box. So now I'm gonna zoom in. Alright, not okay, right here. And then we will go is start zooming again and get closer when we see the city name and major roads, pan left, mouth, and center of the view. So keep zooming and fixing. So zooming here, and we can click this 2 button until we can easily distinguish the city's freeway and landmarks, such as airports. So if we zoom in further than we want, we zoom out and pull the scroll wheel back, or click fix zoom out, fix zoom out, and this is fix zoom out, and this is fix zoom in the navigate group, so we can go back. So then we probably noticed that no streets were visible, at the global scale, and that was we kept zooming in more and more detail appeared. This is because the base map is a multi-scale map, really a set of maps that turn on and off to display features and symbology that are appropriate to the map scale. So now the figure shows Greater Los Angeles, an area that includes a score of incorporated communities and nearby cities. So now we're gonna add a layer to of project data. So now on top of the base map, we will add a layer from the data that has been put together for this project and is stored on the computer. So here we will talk more about where this data comes from and how to acquire data from our own. So now on the folders, we're gonna do is add a connection folder, and we're going to browse to the desktop here, and this folder, click OK. Then I have the folder, so we're going to select the park select folder and click OK, which is fine if you want to do the previous. So now after making the folder connection, we're going to span park state source data and then the Esri geodatabase, which is right here, and finally the boundary, which is right here. I'm gonna drag it here. So last time I put down below and we didn't see the layer, so there, see, you have to put above the world street map. So we drag and drop the city play layer on the map. Default layer colors will vary, so it's okay. Here we discussed that GIS data formats in the sidebar representing the real world as data. So for now, we just want to dig down to the data. So base map layer, we're going to talk about. Base map layer show reference to geography such as street map, imagery, topography, and physical relief. The one available in ArcGIS Pro are remotely hosted map services that we can navigate, view, and use as backdrops to other data. Base maps are stored at multiple scales so that we can zoom in or out. We see different amounts of detail as we navigate a base map. The various pieces of it called tiles that compose of the current view we stored locally on the computer in a so-called display cache. When we zoom or pan to a new area, the map may be a little slow to draw, but any place we return to will redraw quickly because the data comes from the cache, not from the remote server. Alright, so when the layer of city boundaries is added to the map, it may zoom to the full extent of the data set, which right now it is not, and I think I would just go to zoom to layer. Alright. So if we click previous extend, we go back to the previous, and I'm gonna zoom to layer. That's weird. It should be centered for me. State, let's just say zoom to layer. There. Alright, so each city in the layer is called feature. These features are polygons, which are one of the 3 basic shapes used for represent geographic objects in a GIS. The others are lines and points. So in the contents pane, which is right here, the order of the entries matches the drawing order of layers in the map. So city PLY is listed above World Street Map and on the map, the cities cover the base map. We can control a layer's visibility with its checkbox in the contents pane. So now in the contents pane, we're going to click the checkbox next to the city play, and the layer is turned off. So now the layer is turned off. Now I'm gonna turn it off. Okay, and I think I added too many things here, boundary. I have everything, and click the checkbox again to turn it back on. It's fine. So we will set the layers property. Every layer has properties that we can set and change. For example, we can just change the visibility property of the city play layer. In the contents pane, we're going to right click the color patch underneath the city, which is right here. A color, so I'm gonna left click on it. Maybe right click on it. There, it's right click on it. Right click on the patch underneath the city play layer name. So a color palette opens. So moving the pointer over any color square shows in the name as a tooltip. So on the color palette, we're going to click any color. We change the color, the layer of the color. So I'll do yellow, and why it's not showing up, we have to check it on. So now it's right here. And in the contents pane, right click on the city layer name and open its contents menu. So at the bottom, so we're gonna go to property. So the layer property dialog box opens. There is where we can access the full sets of property for a layer. So if necessary, we're going to click the generally bar at the top of the left column on the dialog box. So the layer name city play is one of its properties. So its name is cryptic. So it stands for city polygons. So and unattractive. So now we can change it in the name box. We're going to delete the text and type cities. So we're gonna say cities. And in the layer property dialog box, we're going to click the source tab. So this tab shows the technical information about the layer, including the path to the data on the computer. So we're going to click OK on the layer property dialog box, and then we're gonna close it. Notice that the name is updated in the contents pane, so which is cities right now. Renaming this layer in the map simply makes it easier to identify in the map, and it doesn't change the source data file's name, which is still city play, and a layer is a representation or rendering of the data, not the data itself. We can make any changes we want to a layer's properties without affecting the data on which the layer is based. So now we get information about cities. So now we're going to see that what we can find out about the cities on the map. We're going to click any city polygon on the map. Any city polygon on the map. City point, county. Zoom to layer. There, so the yellow, let me go back. Los Angeles is right here. Any city polygon. So once we click on it and the city flashes blue, it's cyan color, and a pop-up window opens in the title bar. So this is the title bar. The pop-up window, we can see the name of the city. We identify in the pop-up window, we see its attributes or the information that this layer stores about cities. So some of the attributes aren't obviously meaningful, but others are. So if pop 2010 is population for the layer, 2010 and pop 10 square miles is population per square mile for the same year. We know that Los Angeles, if that the city we identified had 3,792,621 inhabitants at the time of the 2010 census, and its population density was 8,018 people per square mile. So now, if necessary, we move out the pop-up window away from the map, identify more cities. So the pop-up window updates with information about the new city. All the cities have the same set of attributes if the value of the attributes that change. We're gonna close the pop-up window. And here. And in the contents pane, and we're gonna right-click on the city. And then we will open its attribute table. All right. Okay. And then we're going to scroll across the table. I don't have to because I have a big screen. So if necessary, we're going to look at all the fields name. This is a different presentation of the same information we saw when we identify cities on the map. So we scroll back to the beginning of the table and then scroll a little way down through the records. So the table rows. This table has a lot of records. In fact, 29,259 of them. So you can see at the bottom, each record corresponds to a unique feature. That is a unique city on the map. So there must be a lot of cities we are not seeing in the current view, because right now we are in Los Angeles area. All right, we will leave the table open. So it says stock under here. We can move the panel and by dragging it from the tab and redock by dropping it on the blue arrow. So I usually don't like to dock it, so I can drag it and make it flow window. So you already know that I really like floating window. So in the contents pane, we're gonna right click on this layer. So city. And on the menu, we say zoom to layer. So the map zoom out to the geographic extent of the layer, the entire United States. We cannot distinguish individual cities' polygons at the scale. So on the Math tab in the navigated group, we're going to click the previous extent view, so which is right here, previous extent view. And then select the record for Los Angeles. So how to select? I think we can do a definition query. There are many ways to do it. We could use a lot of methods to do that. So the first one, when we select a record in the attribute table, the corresponding feature is selected on the map. So likewise, when we select a feature on the map, its record is selected in the table, and selections are marked with a blue highlight by default. So we scroll down to the bottom of the table, make sure that the table is wide enough so we can see population 2010 field. So we will right click the population field name, and then we will say sort descending. Alternatively, double click the column header to switch between the ascending and descending order. So we can double click again. So some cities has no people, so those will be ghost towns. Okay, that's very interesting. And now we will right click the population field name on the context pane. We're gonna do descending for sure. The records are sorted in the order of their population from largest to smallest. So Los Angeles is now the second record in the table after New York. So it will be right here. On the map, in the city of Los Angeles is outlined in blue, so we may be see the whole city already, but now we can make sure. So we will close the attribute table, clicking the X on the right, which is right here. In the contents pane, we will right click on city and click selection. Go to selection and selection, then I will go to zoom to selection. Perfect. And once we zoom to selection, then this map zooms in close to the selected feature and centers in the view the cities. Odd's shape is attributable to years of piecemeal expansion and incorporation.